Commercial dining spaces have undergone a massive redesign. The aesthetic has shifted from fast food on plastic trays to artisanal dishes on textured wood. The layouts of the 1990s were engineered for an operational philosophy known as the janitocracy. Every surface, from the fluorescent lighting to the bolted-down seating, was selected to maximize ease of cleaning and customer turnover. Looking at this archival image, we see how despite premium materials, the underlying architecture remained her rigid grid to process high volumes of patrons efficiently. These older spaces were not designed as destinations. Their primary function was simple sustenance, giving shoppers a quick place to refuel so they wouldn't leave to find lunch elsewhere. In this era, the food court relied entirely on the massive foot traffic generated by the building's true anchors, large department stores. The dining area was a byproduct of the retail crowd, capturing the overflow of thousands of shoppers already inside the building. This made the traditional food court a functional necessity rather than a primary draw. And when consumer habits evolved and traditional department stores shrunk, the crowds faded away. Commercial property developers found themselves with massive empty square footage where retail giants used to sit. To fill this vacuum, landlords initiated the anchor shift, replacing outgoing department stores with expansive, premium food halls. Landlords redesigned the architecture to function as a third place. Softer lighting and intimate seating zones actively encourage visitors to linger and socialize. When visitors rely on quick turnover dining, dwell time stays under 30 minutes, yielding around $54. With a modern food hall, times extend to 3 hours or more, and average spend scales upward to over $200. This correlation means the visual upgrades are performing a specific economic function. The layout, seating, and culinary variety are meticulously engineered to maximize the duration of a visit. The dining space has shifted from a secondary service to the primary driver of foot traffic, sustaining the commercial viability of the entire property. To understand how these halls sustain that level of profitability, we have to look past the dining room and examine the operational infrastructure managed by the landlord. Opening a standalone restaurant requires massive upfront capital for dining space, restrooms, and customer flow. In a shared ecosystem, food vendors skip that capital expenditure, securing a compact, efficient kitchen footprint instead. The property operator handles the rest. They provide the centralized seating areas, manage the waste collection, and employ the security staff, centralizing costs that would normally burden a single business owner. This efficiency extends into the back-of-house operations. Landlords design hidden service corridors running directly behind the vendor stalls. Deliveries, ingredient storage, and maintenance for utilities like grease traps are routed through these shared access points, keeping the public areas clear. By outsourcing the dining room maintenance and utility management to the landlord, chefs and kitchen staff direct all their resources toward order throughput, preparing meals rapidly during high-volume lunch and dinner rushes. Operators enhance this efficiency by installing unified digital ordering screens. Customers place orders for multiple stalls at a single terminal, which routes tickets directly to the specific kitchens, eliminating long physical lines at individual counters. The vendor operates a highly optimized production line stationed inside a centralized logistics hub that handles every other aspect of the customer experience. This shared operational layer allows landlords to implement a specific financial mechanism to capture the value they create, the two-tier lease agreement. The first tier is a fixed base rent. This rate is often set lower than a traditional commercial lease, which protects the vendor's cash flow in their early months while securing a stable baseline income for the property owner. The structure centers around a calculation known as the natural breakpoint. This is the exact revenue threshold a vendor must reach, calculated by dividing the base rent by an agreed-upon percentage rate. Looking at the trajectory, as vendor sales exceed that breakpoint line, the second tier of the lease activates. The landlord begins collecting a percentage rent on all additional sales, typically claiming between 7 and 15 cents of every extra dollar earned. By tying their revenue directly to the vendor's total sales volume, the property owner has a vested financial interest in driving maximum foot traffic to the building. The natural breakpoint functions as a transition line. Below it, the landlord is a traditional rent collector. Above it, they operate as a profit-sharing partner in the vendor's culinary business. Yet the percentage rent collected from the food stalls is just one part of the revenue equation. While the kitchens generate the necessary foot traffic, The primary profit center is usually the operator-owned central bar. This chart compares the profitability of those two streams. The margins a landlord realizes from a food vendor's percentage rent are relatively narrow. In contrast, a centralized beverage program yields gross margins ranging from 65 to 80% on nearly every transaction. Because of these high margins, this single, centrally managed beverage entity frequently generates 30 to 50% of the total revenue for the entire dining complex. The extensive variety of food stalls functions primarily as customer acquisition. By offering diverse, high-quality meals from independent chefs, the property draws large crowds into the space, positioning them steps away from the highly profitable beverage counters. The steady, high-volume cash flow from the bar covers digital systems and the shared dining room staff. The modern shared dining model operates efficiently because the property is, structurally, a highly scaled beverage operation, utilizing a curated selection of culinary kitchens to secure its customer base. Observing the full layout in motion from above reveals the true massive scale of this calibrated retail ecosystem. The operation balances on three specific pillars: a shared logistical infrastructure that reduces overhead, a two-tier lease structure that capitalizes on high volume, and a central beverage anchor that subsidizes the entire system. Operating together, these mechanisms sustain a massive volume of daily foot traffic that a single independent restaurant operating its own dining room could rarely achieve. And that foot traffic radiates outward. The density of visitors eating in the shared hall translates into immediate commercial support for the adjacent cinemas, surrounding retail shops, and connected office spaces. Every purchase made at a vendor stall or central beverage counter feeds directly into this complex, multi-million-dollar real estate strategy. Modern commercial property development relies on engineering shared environments that constantly capture attention. In this specific model, customer dwell time has truly become the ultimate commercial currency.